Clemson's Greatest Games is brought to you by Roto-Rooter. When you need a local plumber fast, call Roto-Rooter. And by First National Bank. Find a branch or ATM near you at fnb-online.com.
From the pocket, looks down the field to Theon Kane, and he collects it for a Clemson touchdown. Clemson in the pocket, shoots it downfield for Kane again, who makes a diving catch for a touchdown. And taking a shot, losing the ball. Clemson's got it. Watson kicks it, pitches it across the middle. Touchdown, Williams. Forsyth out of the backfield, didn't see him and throws a pick. Slant, Scott. Fight spring and walks in. A 1-2 punch from the Tigers.
2017, Clemson taking on Louisville. All the chatter leading up to this ball game was about the quarterbacks. The Cardinals, of course, have the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, Lamar Jackson, and he had carved up the Clemson defense down in Death Valley in 2016. For Clemson, Kelly Bryant had taken over the QB role. He's off to a 2-0 start, including a nice win over a ranked Auburn team, but this was going to be his first road test, and it was going to be against a very angry Cardinal crowd that was looking for revenge for 2016. Let's spot the ball and get it on.
So coming into this game, both teams were 2-0. Louisville was ranked 14th. Clemson was ranked 3rd. So the Tigers were favored in this game, but everybody knew Louisville would have a little something extra for Clemson coming into this game because the first 3 games in the series were all decided by 7 points or less. And you know, those veteran players on the Louisville teams were sick of losing close games to Clemson.
So we all know Clemson won the national championship in 2016. And, you know, most people were saying, okay, Clemson, way to go, right? You won a national title, back-to-back playoffs. You've had your fun. Your run's over, Deshaun's going, a lot of people have moved on, and you're gonna kind of slink back into being maybe a top 15 program, but you're not gonna make another playoff. You're not going to another national championship. And so this game was huge in a lot of respects for Clemson.
Night game, black jerseys, at Louisville. Louisville's tired of losing to Clemson. Their fan base is tired of losing to Clemson because it had been that way ever since they gotten into the ACC. Clemson had always figured out a way to just win some nail biters, last minute second plays actually against Louisville to post victories.
But there were also some motivating factors on the Clemson side, in particular for the Clemson defensive line, because I think that defense had heard how Lamar Jackson had gained so many yards and rushed for 162 yards and threw for 280 the previous year. And so they were kind of wanting to show a lot better than they did that game. So the front four for the Tigers were pretty motivated for that game also, and it showed.
Louisville fans, like they were the previous year in 2016, still talking junk. I mean, still thinking they could win this game.
Their fans were jacked. I mean, really jacked up. I mean, that's a place where they know how to get after it before a game. And so you felt this excitement building as you got closer because it was a blackout. Louisville was really excited. Again, in 2016, this was a program that was this close, in their mind, this close from being in the playoff conversation. And if they hadn't, just basically squandered away all of November, losing to teams like Houston and things like that, then maybe, they could have had what Clemson had. And so this was a revenge spot for them as much as it was a proving ground for Clemson.
I had never had as much trash talking from a fan base when I got off the bus and was walking into the stadium as I heard from Louisville going into that game that night. You could tell they were amped up, they were ready, they had been there all day, and they were going to be after Clemson when they stepped into the stadium.
The Louisville folks thought they were due because Lamar, Deshaun had the national title, but Lamar had the Heisman, and he was a returning Heisman winner. And Clemson lost a lot from their 2016 defense, and we're kind of retooling a little bit. And so there was a great deal of confidence there in Louisville about, finally getting over the hump. These 3 times that we just came just short. And they felt really sure that in 2017 they were going to get over the hump. And Kelly Bryant was like, nope, I'm going to be the best player on the field. I'm going to be better than Lamar.
Founders Federal Credit Union is your credit union. We are devoted to serving you through good and bad, and through highs and lows. We are committed to standing by you, our members, our communities, our family. Together, we can persevere through these times. We are your credit union, and we are here for you. Relax with Founders Federal Credit Union.
My dad was a Cuban refugee, and school wasn't really an option for him. He'd always encourage me and my sisters. He'd say, try different things, If you want to be an artist, if you want to be a painter or musician, go for it. Because I received a South Carolina Education Lottery Scholarship, I didn't have to worry about the bulk of my tuition. And that's priceless.
Roto-Rooter Zero Contact Service is your assurance that we're putting safety first. On the job, we'll keep a safe distance, wear boot covers, face masks, disposable gloves, and other protective gear. We're following CDC guidelines, washing hands, and disinfecting touch points. And we'll put on fresh gloves before handling your paperwork and credit cards. You can depend on Roto-Rooter to lead the way in safety with Zero Contact Service.
Even though Clemson had just won a national championship, they'd been to the college football playoff title game 2 years in a row, people were still asking, was Clemson just a flash in the pan because they had had a transcendent player in Deshaun Watson? And how are they going to respond with a new quarterback, Kelly Bryant? And remember, Clemson had lost some leaders on defense like Ben Boulware, Carlos Watkins. So going on the road against Louisville and Heisman Trophy winner Lamar Jackson was going to be a true test on both sides of the ball. But in this game, it didn't take Clemson long to start answering some of those questions.
Certainly the context of this game going into it is Lamar Jackson. It was Lamar Jackson this, Lamar Jackson that. And you can understand why. Because Lamar Jackson was absolutely a show every time he stepped on the football field. The year before against Clemson, he was marvelous against the Tigers in Death Valley. But that also gave the defense for Clemson a little bit of a challenge. You knew that Brent Venables and the guys on the defensive side of the ball did not want to see Lamar Jackson do against them here in 17 what he had done against them in 16.
Clemson got off to a really good start in this game, which was important because that atmosphere was electric. That place was packed. It was hyped from the second the ball kicked off.
So at the beginning of the game, Louisville has a pair of 3 and outs to start. And Clemson scores on the first drive that the Tigers have the ball. Kelly Bryant leads the Tigers down the field. It's a beautiful 40-yard pass to then junior Hunter Renfro.
And you could almost see that stadium. You could almost feel the deflation a little bit. And then Kelly Bryant with the really easy 8-yard touchdown run.
It's McLeod in motion. Bryant weaves his way through traffic and dives for a touchdown. What a drive for this quarterback in his first road start. Clemson jumps in front.
It became very apparent very early that the Clemson coaching staff was going to force Louisville to have to defend quarterback run. They knew that they had a young up-and-coming quarterback with not a lot of experience. So how do you settle him down?
So a nice start for Kelly Bryant. You got to remember this is only his third collegiate start, and it's his first road start, and it is a pretty hostile crowd.
When he took that team right down the field, it changed everybody's thoughts about what we were about to see that night. And it put Clemson fans, I think, in a good frame of mind where there were nerves going in. There weren't as many nerves anymore.
Kelly Bryant runs the ball in for a score, and we've got a close game early. Lamar Jackson looks good. He's leading Louisville down the field, but then Clemson just explodes.
That year, Kelly had all the questions around him. And to see him step out on the game field and play great, execute, and because Louisville has a pretty good defense, offense. They're a good team, and for just to see him execute, that's always going to give the defense confidence. And
then a big play in the game took place when Kelly Bryant threw a 79-yard touchdown pass to McLeod. Ray was wide open on the play.
He hits Ray McLeod on a 79-yard touchdown pass that was just a throw of beauty. Ray was in behind the defense, and Kelly just threw it up there and let Ray just go run right underneath it. into the end zone.
A beautiful pass from Kelly Bryant, something that he wasn't necessarily known for, but arguably one of the prettiest deep balls that Kelly Bryant threw his entire career to a wide open Ray McLeod.
Of course. Play action for Bryant, who's going to take a downfield shot. McLeod is wide open, collects it, and they will not catch him. Just like that, the Tigers stretch the lead. 79 yards.
Clemson's a whole lot faster than these guys. These guys look a little slow by comparison. That's what you felt about Louisville's defense in that moment, because not only did he sprint past the defense, but the defense tried to catch up, and Ray just kept getting further and further away. And then the sprinters lean into the end zone. It just made you think that you were at a track meet that Clemson was about to lap the competition.
Holding Lamar Jackson in check in the first half and only allowing 7 points showed that the Tigers defense came ready and prepared to play. And offensively, Kelly Bryant looked calm and comfortable even in this type of an environment, which gave the Tigers a lot of confidence going into halftime that in the second half they could continue to build on their lead.
This segment was brought to you by First National Bank, helping businesses and individuals achieve their financial goals.
We're behind people rising to the challenge and neighbors looking after neighbors. We're behind small businesses with big ideas and struggling companies looking towards tomorrow. At First National Bank, we're behind every part of our community. We're working around the clock to ensure you have all the financial guidance and resources you need. And no matter what the future holds, you'll find us right where we've always been, behind you all the way.
Don't wait for tomorrow. Make the days count. Gatorade has carbs to fuel and electrolytes to help replenish, so you can count on the proven formula. Nothing beats Gatorade.
It was evident in the first half that Clemson's defense was giving Lamar Jackson all sorts of trouble. He was under constant pressure almost every single snap and just couldn't get things going. But this is the Heisman Trophy winner, and we've seen how explosive he's been in the past, and also a quarterback that really doesn't make too many mistakes. But early in the second half, a key mistake would basically put this game out of reach.
The crowd was ready to go. Kickoff, first quarter, second quarter. The entire crowd did not return, I'll put it that way, after halftime. So it definitely became a less intense environment after halftime because I think the Louisville fans started to realize Lamar can't beat this team by himself.
Another huge play of this game took place as Jackson tried to throw a pass over the middle and Dorian O'Daniel picked it off and ran it back for a touchdown. So all of a sudden it's 26-7.
Second and 13, Jackson from the pocket delivers, and it's intercepted. Dorian O'Daniel's got it for the Tigers, and he's got a blocker. Dorian O'Daniel, pick six, Clemson.
Dorian, being the veteran that he was, baited him, kind of went with the running back, and then with his athleticism, he was able to jump back in the curl route, make the play, and then when you can score on defense, it changes the game completely, and so that's really what happened.
That's the first pick that Lamar Jackson had in 128 passes. And the look on Lamar Jackson's face, looking to the Louisville sideline, looking at his head coach, Bobby Petrino, is priceless.
That's what shut the building down. That's when you saw all the black shirts filing out. That's when the Clemson people started to party.
After O'Daniel's interception, the Tiger defense rose up and held Louisville to a 3-and-out. So Clemson got the ball back, knowing, boy, if they could drive for a touchdown, they'd really just about put this game away. And that's exactly what Clemson did. Using a really good ground gain behind the running of Tavian Feaster, the Tigers drove in for a touchdown that Kelly Bryant scored from 1 yard out, and it's 33-7 going into the fourth quarter.
There's a quarterback keeper, and he scores standing up as the Tigers.
The fourth quarter began with the Tigers up 33-7. Louisville did come down and score, but then the Tigers came right back and scored as Choice scored on a 39-yard run. Clemson really got the ground game going in the second half and especially in the fourth quarter. So the Tigers are in command in the fourth quarter, but there's still a little bit of excitement left for Clemson fans in this day. It's 40-21 with about 6 minutes left. The Tigers have the ball on their own 19-yard line. And there's a running play to a little freshman named Travis Etienne, who didn't even carry the ball the previous week against Auburn. But Etienne took off down the left sideline and basically outran the entire Louisville team for an 81-yard touchdown.
Breaks a couple of tackles. Look out. He's a sprinter. Boy. Shades of things to come. Welcome to college football. Travis Etienne. I just had a sense. Come on. We're going to bust out late.
The one thing I really remember from the Louisville game in 2017 was the emergence of Travis Etienne. No one was talking about Etienne. This guy showed up in July, didn't even enroll early, wasn't a 5-star, was from Louisiana. What is he doing here? Now, he's the ACC's all-time leader in rushing touchdowns and probably going to be the all-time leader in other things to come. But when he takes that ball and breaks it out to the sideline and then just goes, he turned the Jets on. And that was the moment, too, where Dabo Swinney said, look, we might need to play Travis Etienne a little more.
But the real highlight late in the game comes from yet another freshman, and it's Travis Etienne. When Etienne takes the ball at his own 19-yard line and goes left side, finds the edge, and then he just kicked into a totally different gear and ran away from guys and takes it in the end zone, 81 yards for the touchdown. The famous line from Kurt Herbstreit, obviously on the broadcast, is embarrassment of riches. Well, it was foremost at that point for Clemson.
Clemson survives the Louisville blackout 47-21 and makes it look easy at times. And whoever could have predicted that Kelly Bryant would outplay Lamar Jackson, obviously giving Kelly a lot of confidence for the rest of the season. But we also have to give a lot of credit to Brent Venables and the Clemson defense for shutting down the Heisman Trophy winner. And this win was just another step towards the third straight trip to the college football playoffs.
This segment was brought to you by Roto-Rooter. When you need a local plumber fast, call Roto-Rooter.
Roto-Rooter Zero Contact Service is your assurance that we're putting safety first. On the job, we'll keep a safe distance, wear boot covers, face masks, disposable gloves, and other protective gear. We're following CDC guidelines, washing hands, and disinfecting touch points. And we'll put on fresh gloves before handling your paperwork and credit cards. You can depend on Roto-Rooter to lead the way in safety with zero contact service.
So, what makes your house a home?
Sitting on the front porch, relaxing at the end of the day.
Hands down, my wife's spaghetti.
A sense of security.
I'd say making it my own.
Playing with my son, definitely.
For whatever makes your house a home, we're here to protect it.
America, we want to help get you back to it. And here's how, with the Ford Promise. Visit your Ford dealer. Finance a new, certified pre-owned or used vehicle through Ford Credit, and if you lose your job, you can return it for up to 1 year from the day you bought it. You can also get 0% APR financing for 72 months across the Ford lineup. Let us help get you back to it. Contact your Carolina Ford dealer today for great offers including 0% APR financing for 72 months across the Ford lineup.
(47-21) your final, and to be honest with you, the game wasn't even that close. Total domination by the Tigers, a great performance by Kelly Bryant. 3 total touchdowns, over 300 yards passing in this one. He really outplayed Lamar Jackson. And man, oh man, can Brent Venables dial up a defensive scheme or what? Lamar Jackson had a lot of success against the Tigers in 2016, not in 2017. Clemson is firmly in charge of the ACC Atlantic.
The aftermath of this game, I think, is pretty simple. Clemson has beaten down Louisville, so that helps them on the Atlantic side of the ACC. It puts them up a game on the team who they figure that, either Clemson or or Louisville was going to win the Atlantic Division. Well, here now Clemson is up a game on them, taking care of business at their place.
And what Clemson was able to do in putting Louisville away fairly early in the game, it really, not only did it solidify what Clemson was going to become that season, much to the chagrin of a lot of the rest of the ACC and to the chagrin of tens of thousands of people who were filing from the exits early in the third quarter there at Papa John's Cardinal Stadium. But it also solidified, oh man, there's something wrong with Louisville. This program is slipping a little bit, and little did we know that it was about to crater hard really quickly under Bobby Petrino.
Looking back, this was the best statistical game of Kelly Bryant's career. He obviously would have a huge win against Texas A&M during the national championship season in 2018. But this day he threw for over 300 yards, 316, had a couple of touchdowns rushing, and really had a terrific performance as Clemson had over 600 yards total offense.
It's funny because, you know, with all the talk surrounding Lamar Jackson, I think that Kelly Bryant came into this with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, to be perfectly honest with you. You know, he's replacing Deshaun Watson, so he had to be hearing about that all the time, not only from opposing media, national media, but from his own media as well. You know, what are you going to do to replace Deshaun? And I think that really Kelly stepped into this contest. It was the first road contest of the year in 2017 for Clemson, and he stepped into it with this, I'm going to go out and show you exactly what I can do. And he did exactly that.
And Marty Smith of ESPN, a really good friend of mine, he was at that game, and he had, you know, one of the sideline guys, and I walk into the hallway and he looks at me and he grins and he goes, Deshaun who? As if to say, Kelly Bryant, man, this great performance that he had on the road.
And so it was really important for Clemson as a program. This was a program win for Clemson, and I think a statement for who Clemson had become.
I think anytime you play well on a big stage, maybe you exceed expectations, and the quarterback, in this case Kelly Bryant, is able to gain confidence, and now all of a sudden your locker room changes, your demeanor changes, everything just goes in one direction.
It also, though, kind of sets the tone now for Clemson for really the rest of the year. That they know they can take care of business at home. They've just taken care of business in a big way on the road.
Well, the Tigers are going to continue their domination of the Atlantic Division in the ACC. It's going to be 18 in a row, 11 straight wins away from home, 19 straight pre-November wins.
What a great win for the Tigers. And coming into this ball game, a lot of people thought it might be a changing of the guard in the ACC, with the Heisman Trophy winner Lamar Jackson leading Louisville to a win over the Tigers in this one. That did not happen. A dominating performance by Clemson, and more importantly, Clemson sending a message out not just to the ACC, but nationally. This is about the Clemson program. It's not about Deshaun Watson, Mike Williams, Wayne Gallman, all of those players anymore. It's about a long-standing program that's here to stay, and that's what makes this one of Clemson's greatest games.
Clemson's Greatest Games is brought to you by Roto-Rooter. When you need a local plumber fast, call Roto-Rooter. And by First National Bank. Find a branch or ATM near you at fnb-online.com.